Today for Full Album Friday, we're going to check out the amazing 1969 self-titled release from the band. Let's be honest, there's only one group in history worthy of being called the band, and this album from end to end makes that absolutely impossible to argue. This is also one of, if not the most important record there is when it comes to perfectly bringing together the worlds of country, folk, and rock and roll. But if you look at this record in the era that it came out, it went against almost every single sound that was hitting it big, as there's really no straightforward rock and roll or psychedelic to be found anywhere on this record. And yet it managed to receive massive accolades because at the end of the day, you just can't deny amazing music. What makes this album so great is the fact that all 5 band members play brilliantly on their own. And yet the way that they work together as a group makes this project so much bigger than the sum of its parts. And in the end, that just makes for an absolutely superb musical experience. Also, this is the band's second record, so it has far superior song structure when compared to their first, and it also has a superior flow to it, but that's not to say that their first record is subpar in any way. One of the reasons for this better cohesion is likely due to the fact that Robbie Robertson wrote almost every single song on it, and the way that he works his guitar through these songs is truly what it means to play beautifully. But it's also the fact that you get this great dual organ sound all across this album, and it helps to make these songs all the more enveloping, giving them far more musical depth than almost anything else recorded at that time. Add to this the musical versatility of Richard Manuel and bassist Rick Danko, and the rhythms here are as addictive as anything else you can find. But at the center of it all, you have the drumming and the vocal legend of the one and only Levon Helm, and much of the signature sound and style of this band comes from his contributions. Whether it's his almost overwhelmingly soulful vocal on The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, or that upbeat bounce to Up on Cripple Creek, you just can't top his singing or the lyrics. And yet it's the band's ability to keep things so raw and organic that keeps people coming back to this record time and time again. At the same time, on a number of these songs, you can hear the early rumblings of funk rock, and it's the organ and the bass that are able to make these tracks groove in a wonderfully unique manner. This self-titled release from the band also still serves as the blueprint for countless of the southern rock style bands, and yet at the same time, none of them have ever been able to come even remotely close to the overall quality you find here. This record really doesn't fit into any category, as there's this diversity within the musical arrangements and in the tempo that becomes only definable by simply calling it the band. And it's really one of those albums you can't help but fall in love with. Whether it's due to the beautiful vocals that just force you to sing along every time, or the tones and the mood and the music that simultaneously relax you and energize you, this is just one of those records that really should be issued to everybody on the planet upon birth. And if somehow this isn't in your collection, you need to change that right away. Thank me later.